If I can run an ad before we start, before we start a normal program, we have to do the advertising. And could I tell everyone that our biannual, CACUB's biannual conference goes to Antigua and Barbuda this year. It's going to be on the 26th of September to the 28th. And the general topic is going to be interregional Caribbean cargo capacity. We're going to be investigation and finding solutions for this area, this conundrum in Caribbean and CARICOM, in the CARICOM area. So we welcome everybody to Information Bites. We have a very special guest from Jamaica, in from Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited. And this is Unravelling Monzo. And he's here because, as all of us may be aware or should be aware of, is that there were some delays coming out of Jamaica during the peak seasons last year, and there were some on the year before as well. It maybe have been for different issues, we don't know, but there were delays. Last year was particularly bad. This topic hit the headlines all through the Caribbean. Here in Barbados, you can see where the head of our Chamber of Commerce quoted at Barbadian. Barbadian consumers can expect to be impacted by increasing shipping delays for the upcoming Christmas season and beyond. He went on to say, to make matters worse, importers were facing major problems with the transshipment of goods through the Kingston port in Jamaica. In Jamaica itself, port delays sparking concerns about Christmas supplies. I think this was RJR. Delays are being experienced at one of Jamaica's main shipping ports. Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited says the vessel delays are as a result of increased transshipment volume from particular shipping lines whose feedering network has not been able to keep up with the recent influx of containers. So we can see where RJR said that the problem was the feeder and not the actual lines coming in. One line actually have on their website, and this is Zim, and they did this on the 30th of September, I think. With shortage of labor and crane availability, we witnessed a prolonged congestion in the terminal, which caused delays in vessels, schedules, and delay to your cargo. We are doing our best to minimize the potential delay on your cargo. We have already diverted 2 of our ZCP vessels to Cartagena, with another vessel planned to omit Kingston before she heads back to Asia. So the delays at Kingston hit the headlines, and it was some cause of concern around the Caribbean as there were shortages of goods all around. So we thought at CACUB that we should investigate this. I mean, no, we're not in peak season, but maybe there's lessons to be learned, and if we discuss it here, some of those lessons can be drawn out from our discussion. So we have Mr. Unravelling Monzo. He's the Operations Optimization Performance and TOS Manager with the Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited. He has a career span of over 20 years. He stands out as a seasoned professional with expertise in port and container terminal operations. His current role at Kingston Freeport Limited, Unravelling has consistently demonstrated his ability to drive operational excellence and elevate performance standards. Born and raised in Spain, Unravelling's proficiency in Spanish, Catalan, and English further enhances his ability to connect with diverse audiences. His journey in the maritime sector commenced with a solid foundation of logistics and supply chain management, laying the groundwork for his subsequent work in the field. His early experiences equipped him with a profound understanding of the dynamics that concern port operations, and insight he will later use to enhance operational efficiency and productivity at Kingston Wharves Limited. Unravelling is a strong leader who fosters a collaborative and high-performance culture within his team. His achievements since he began his tenure in Kingston include the development of comprehensive standard operating procedures for various business units, spearheading the upgrade of terminal operating system to Navis N4 terminal operating system, and implementing a differential global positioning system to enhance container positioning accuracy. Unravelling is a devoted family man who enjoys reading and playing music. He approaches life and work with passion and likes to challenge himself both personally and professionally. So let us welcome Mr. Unravelling. And welcome to Information Bite, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ford, and the entire Caribbean Association of Custom Brokers. So yeah, thank you for extending this opportunity to present your monthly information session. It is indeed an honor to be part of this platform and engage with such a distinguished audience. In today's session, we will delve into critical aspects that have significantly impacted shipping dynamics over the last 4 months, with a particular focus on their implications for Jamaica and the broader Caribbean region. The challenges we will discuss range from the Panama Canal restrictions, operational adjustments, and the Red Sea crisis to the evolving landscape of global shipping alliances. As we navigate through these complexities, our aim is to shed light on the multifaceted factors influencing delayed shipments, docking, transshipment, and how these issues intertwine to affect the Caribbean trade landscape. Your commitment to fostering understanding and open dialogue through these monthly sessions is commendable, and I look forward to contributing the valuable insights with this session. During the presentation, I'll be more than happy to engage in question and answers and addressing any queries or concerns that may arise. So please feel free to interrupt me as we go along. As we delve into the intricacies of these challenges, it is essential to understand the practical experience that shaped our perspective. So with that, please allow me to take you on a journey through my professional background, one that reflects not just my roles, but the commitment to operational excellence that mirrors the values upheld by CACUB. In the dynamic work of maritime operations, every role, every project contributes to a broader understanding of the industry. From my early days coordinating vessel and yard operations to more recent endeavors in system implementations and strategic management, each step has been a lesson and a step forward. So early in my career, I started as a vessel supervisor at TCB Stevedore and Company in Valencia on April 2003. My journey evolved as I embraced various roles, progressing from vessel supervisor to yard planner, and eventually taking on responsibilities as chief manager, planning manager, and then operations manager. Each step in this progression brought me new challenges and insights, shaping my understanding of the maritime industry from the ground up to senior operations management. During my tenure as senior ops manager at APM Terminals Spain Gateways, that was from January 2016 to May 2019, I embraced a pivotal management role that only spanned national operations, but also extended to global initiatives. This period marked a significant chapter in my career, highlighting my ability to navigate the complexities of maritime industry on an international scale. In this senior leadership role, I held the responsibility of coordinating among all chief managers, ensuring seamless collaboration to meet company KPIs. However, the scope of my influence went beyond the local coordination. One of the key facets of my role was to contribute to the global standardization processes within the entire APM Terminals portfolio, which includes more than 80 different facilities. As a subject matter expert, I played a crucial role in vessel planning, container handling, equipment dispatching, and berthing. And that involved not only analyzing operations in Valencia and the other different terminals, but also defining the standard procedures for the terminals across the portfolio. My efforts were integral in aligning operational processes across diverse geographical locations and ensuring a cohesive and standardized approach to maritime operations, and putting special emphasis, and that has been over my entire career on knowledge transfer and the development of a skilled workforce. That international stint, working at many different locations like Los Angeles in US, Lázaro Cárdenas in Mexico, Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam, and Rotterdam in the Netherlands, not only broadened my horizons, but also reinforced my ability to adapt operational processes to diverse environments and cultural contexts. It was a period of dynamic growth and learning, providing me invaluable insights to global intricacies of the maritime industry and contributing significantly to my professional journey. After this 3-year period, I joined the Global TOS implementation team on APMT, where I participated in 3 different projects. The first one contributing to the go live in Tanjung Pelepas, Malaysia, and then managing the migration to this new system in 2 different ports in Spain. In these roles, I serve as the M4 super user in planning and execution areas, coordinating teams, ensuring engagement, and meeting project goals. My responsibilities encompass creating and executing a testing plan, providing feedback for system refinement, identifying solutions for gaps, and collaborating with the software provider for efficient system designs. And finally, in February 22, I received an offer from CMA CGM International Service to join their executive division. And my first assignment was Keystone Freeport Terminal Limited in Jamaica. In my current role as the Operations Optimization, Terminal Operating System and Performance Manager at KFTL, I've been tasked with enhancing operational performance, and that includes overseeing day-to-day operations, implementing strategies for efficiency, and upgrading the terminal operating system. During that journey, I have not only acquired technical expertise, but also placed significant emphasis on leadership, coordination, and continuous improvement. And that commitment to operational excellence aligns simply with the ethos of CACUB, always striving to improve on performance and customer satisfaction. Now let's delve into the heart of the matter. The delays we've witnessed in recent times are not isolated incidents, but rather a convergence of 4 key factors, each one of them playing a distinct role in shaping the landscape of maritime operations. Understanding this conjunction is pivotal for us to collectively navigate through the challenges and find pragmatic solutions. So let's unravel the complexity woven by these 4 main factors that have intricately contributed to the delays affecting our regions, namely the Panama Canal restrictions that we've been suffering over the last months, the Palestine war, and the Red Sea crisis. The last 3 months has been extremely tough for global shipping. Then congestion episodes at US and transshipment hubs that started with the COVID-19 crisis and haven't ended yet. And also the dynamics on the global shipping and alliances and the changes that we've been looking at them. Panama Canal. The year 2023 has presented with record high temperatures, El Niño phenomenon, and a delayed onset on the rainy season, collectively resulting in a significant reduction in freshwater levels, crucial for the seamless operation of the canal. These environmental factors have not only affected the Panama Canal, but have had far-reaching consequences globally. The elevated temperatures in the Atlantic Ocean, combined with the influence of El Niño and a delayed rainy season, have directly impacted the level of fresh water in their reservoirs. The Gatun Lake, that man-made lake vessel that vessels must traverse, had water levels at 81.2 feet last Tuesday. Those water levels in this critical portion of the canal have started 2024 at the lowest level on record, dating back to 1965. And projections are for even lower levels over the next 2 months, falling below 80 feet in April. This situation has severely affected the Caribbean region and the US ports. Just to give you an example of it, 3 of the largest 5 ports in the US rely on shipments that navigate through the Panama Canal. Port of New York and New Jersey, Port of Savannah, and Houston. All 3 ports combined handle 30% of total 20-foot equivalent in throughput. And to give you an example, only at Savannah, the limiting effects of the low water levels have created an additional 6-day delay on average to it from all ports around the globe serving Savannah and the US East Coast. These delays are adding an extra day and a half to the scheduled transit times, which have also increased, nearly 4 days longer than they were this time last year. The delays we are talking about are even more impactful the farther up the eastern seaboard you go. The Port of New York and New Jersey are having similar delays around the 6-day mark, but are over 3 days longer than they were last year. Comparing to the East Coast ports to their West Coast counterparts, the port delays for the Port of Los Angeles are under 3 days and nearly 1 day less than they were this time last year. So the effect of these Panama Canal restrictions, it's clearly shown in all the region, and the Caribbean region is not immune to this situation. Similar delays are experienced across the different countries. In response to the water scarcity challenge, the Panama Canal has been proactive in making operational adjustments. Their commitment to transparency is reflected in the communication strategy with their valued customers and customers. As part of their multifaceted approach, they have implemented significant changes on operational parameters, including maximum draft and daily transit capacity. To manage the available water resources effectively, they have made the difficult but necessary decision to implement a 35% reduction in daily traffic. And this reduction is a strategic measure to ensure that their operations are sustained and they can maintain competitive draft to the customers that rely on. While they recognize the importance of managing draft levels during the challenges period, draft restrictions has been announced and executed over the last months. Currently, the vessels transiting the Neo-Panamax locks are allowed maximum drafts up to 44 feet only, while vessels transiting on the Panama locks have currently no draft restrictions. As you can see on the table, if we compare the level of ocean-going transits between 2022 and 2023 December month, the reducement on their capacity, it's pretty high. Then, what are the projections? Dry season in Panama is in full swing, and the impacts to trade through the Panama Canal will remain challenged in the months to come. The situation in the canal after a weather better than expected in November wasn't as dire as many believe, allowing the number of daily transits to increase a little bit in January. But the forecast that the Panama Canal Authority is giving the shipping lines and all the stakeholders is 24 daily transits in January, up from the 20 previously expected and 18 previously expected for February. So situation is a little bit better than what they projected, but much, much worse than previous years. Just to give you an example, throughout fiscal year of 2023, 12,638 vessels traversed the Panama Canal on a daily average of 34 ocean-going vessels moving through it. In the first month of 2023, more than 4,000 transits across all vessel types, with the vast majority being Panama Canal vessels. The run rate for this year, 2024, of vessel, the projection that they have, it's to serve overall 9,700 calls, which is 23% lower than the previous year throughput. While the container traffic receives a lot of attention, tanker and dry bulk market will be heavily impacted as well because of those restrictions. The water level within the Panama Canal are largely to blame, but any hope for a significant rebound in water levels to boost throughput will likely be met with any harsh reality over the next few months. So Mother Nature is out of human control, and if the water level projection holds true, the next couple of months could add some additional delays to the ongoing crisis. Then moving to the next factor, the Red Sea crisis. Red Sea, as you all know, is a wedge narrowly between Africa and the Middle East and connects the Indian Ocean to the Suez Canal and the Mediterranean seas. For centuries, this waterway has been vital for moving goods between Europe and Asia. And for the last 3 months, the Houthi group in Yemen has been attacking shipping vessels in the Red Sea, causing turmoil in one of the world's most important waterways. In response to the assaults, which were launched following the outbreak of war in Israel and Gaza, a coalition of Western countries has been retaliated against Houthi targets and deployed naval forces to protect commercial ships. The Red Sea attacks, however, have already caused disruptions to commercial shipping operations, threatening a key maritime route essential for a significant share of global container traffic and over $1 trillion in annual merchandise. The Suez Canal and the Red Sea, vital for around 30% of the world container traffic, has seen disruptions, leading companies to reroute around the Cape of Good Hope most part of their vessel. This situation has led to an immediate contraction in market capacity and a surge in shipping rates, with significant impacts on global trade networks and economic stability. At this point, about 90% of container ships that would have transited the Red Sea have been diverted around Africa, because, of course, the safety of the crew operating those ships is the top priority of everyone in the industry. Ocean currents are not making those decisions lightly, but the impact on global network and markets, it's really high. As of the third week of January, about 560 carrier vessels accounting for nearly 7.6 million TEUs of capacity, almost 25% of the global capacity, are actively diverting, and will continue to divert. Currently, all European-bound trade lanes remain impacted due to this situation in the Red Sea. On the Trans-Pacific westbound and Far East westbound, we continue to see delays, and the situation in the Red Sea has fundamentally changed the supply-demand equation for at least the first quarter of this year, 2024. Further, carriers partners have made it clear that they are committed to going around the Cape of Good Hope, and they are no longer waiting to see if this situation is going to be quickly mitigated. It is clear that carriers are reacting to what is viewed as long-term situation. Analyzing the data, it shows that the longer transit around Cape of Good Hope as ships divert from the Red Sea is already having a more significant impact on vessels available to pick up containers at ports than during the pandemic. So if we compare the data between the last 3 months and the first 3 months of COVID crisis, the impact it's been bigger on that crisis than what happened during the pandemic. And this supply chain measure is known as vessel capacity. Global overall vessel capacity, it's reduced because of the longer transit that those vessels needs to execute. All these disruptions inevitably translate into higher costs. Whether they ultimately have a significant impact on global inflation will largely be a function of the duration and intensity of the attacks. Some estimates suggest that if these disruptions continue for a year, they could produce a 2% increase in goods inflation. But we'll see. The attacks themselves are unlikely to be resolved soon. Aside from the Israel and Hamas conflict, which is unlikely to subside soon, the Houthis' realization that their attacks attract international attention and distract the Yemeni population from the group's inability to provide basic services is reinforcing their current course of action. Military strategic alliances have been created to secure the navigation, like the one led by US and European nations like United Kingdom, France, Italy, and the Netherlands. But it's still quite uncertain how feasible it would be for this country to ensure a safe sea passage in the area, and everything could come back to normality. As you know, sailing has been an historical dangerous activity, and after a few decades of calmness, the different war conflicts worldwide appear to have brought back some instability to traditional shipping routes. Next factor, US port congestion. We all know that port congestion in the US has been significantly challenging in recent times, impacting the flow of goods and causing delays in the supply chain. And several factors have contributed to this issue. First, an increase in import volumes. United States has experienced a surge in import volume driven by various factors, including increased consumer demand and changes in purchasing behavior, especially with the growth of e-commerce. We all know what all of us started to do during the COVID crisis when we were stuck at home was purchasing things and goods that had to be shipped, mostly. Ports, particularly those on the West Coast, have faced unprecedented levels of incoming containers, leading to congestion in terminal yards and longer processing times. The influx of goods, particularly from Asia countries, has strained the capacity of ports to handle the sheer volume efficiently. Then supply chain disruptions. The COVID-19 pandemic disrupted global supply chains, causing delays in manufacturing and distribution. Lockdowns, factory closures, and transportation restrictions resulted in a backlog of goods, creating a ripple effect across the supply chains. As the global economy reopened, the sudden spike in demand has further strained the supply chain, contributing to delays in unloading and processing containers at the US ports. Also, there has been labor shortages in the United States. US ports heavily depend on a skilled workforce, including the workers, truck drivers, and logistic personnel for smooth operations. The pandemic has led to labor shortages due to illness, quarantine measures, and a general decrease in available workers. Insufficient staffing levels impact the speed at which containers can be loaded and unloaded, leading to bottlenecks and delays. Then, if we look at this issue locally, the allure of employment opportunities in countries facing labor shortages, like the United States, is leading to a talent rate for the Caribbean region and affecting the level of attrition in Jamaica's maritime sector. Last 2 years, the number of skilled operators moving to the US was really concerning. The US has also experienced shortages of essential equipment such as chassis, the wheel frames used for transporting containers, and containers themselves, add to the other challenges we have looked at. The mismatch between the availability of equipment and the high demand for moving goods within and beyond the ports exacerbates congestion. Delays in returning empty containers to ports and distributing shelters contribute to the scarcity of equipment for outbound shipments. And finally, they have also been suffering on infrastructure constraints. Aging infrastructure at some US ports has struggled to keep up with increased size and volume of the modern cargo vessels, and this is a worldwide constraint. Limited capacity in terminal yards, outdated handling equipment, and congestion on access roads contribute to inefficiencies. Ports are grappling with the need for infrastructure investments and modernization to enhance their capacity and improve the fluidity of cargo movement. In conclusion, the situation in the US ports directly influences Keystone Road as a transshipment hub, and adapting to the challenges posed by US ports dynamics is crucial for maintaining the efficiency and the competitiveness of Kingston's port operations, ensuring the smooth flow of goods through this vital way in the Caribbean region. And finally, changes in global shipping alliances. Operational cooperation between container shipping companies comes in from many forms, ranging from slot chartering and vessel sharing agreements to multi-trade strategic alliances. The first strategic alliance between shipping lines date back to the mid-90s, which coincided with the introduction of the first post-Panama container vessel in Europe, Far East trade. 1997, about 70% of the services on the main east-west trades were supplied by the four main strategic alliances. The alliance partnerships evolved due to merge and acquisitions, and last time, due to strategical partnerships between biggest actors in the global shipping industry. Initially, many of the largest carriers did not opt for alliance membership. These firms reached to a sufficient scale to benefit from the same economies of scale and a scope that Strategies Alliances offers. Some of the top carriers at that time, which were Maersk, MSC, CMA, and Evergreen, were notable examples. In comparison, the remaining two top 6 carriers, for instance, COSCO and Hapag-Lloyd, have always opted for alliance membership, despite the scale of their activities. Several shipping lines such as Evergreen initially did not participate on them due to commercial independence and flexibility. However, in 2010, even the largest shipping companies resorted to join alliances as a competitive strategy and to increase margins. The case of Evergreen demonstrates that even outsiders have had to pursue alliance membership. The main incentives for shipping lines to engage in those strategic alliances are in need for critical mass in the scale of operations, enhancing global reach, improving fleet deployment, and spreading risk associated with investments in large container vessels. And there has been recent changes on those strategic alliances. In early 2023, 3 alliances were operational globally. The 2M, composed by MSC and Maersk Line, the Ocean Alliance, composed by CMA CGM, COSCO, OCL, and Evergreen, and the Alliance, composed by ONE, Genmin, HMM, and Hapag-Lloyd. However, in late January 2023, MSC and Maersk announced they mutually agreed to discontinue the 2M Alliance, set to end in January 2025. That implies that the 10-year agreement, which was signed in 2015, will not be extended. Both carriers already began to make changes to their liner services networks before 2025. And the announcement on the termination of 2M, combined with the termination of the EU Consortium Block Exception Regulation from April 2024 onward, triggered the start of an industry-wide reshaping of existing operational agreements, especially on the major East-West trades. In January 2024, Hapag-Lloyd has announced that the carrier will leave the alliance, and from February 2025, they will start a new cooperation scheme with Maersk under the name of Gemini Cooperation. Actually, 2 days ago, only 2 days ago, CMA and its Chinese partner on Ocean Alliance made an announcement as they have just signed an extension of their agreement till 2037. As things stand now, by 2025, MSC will remain the only large container shipping line not being part of an island. And in early 2024, MSC operated a fleet of about 5.6 million TEU, with an order book of an additional 1.4 million. Then, looking at all these issues overall shipping network is dealing with, we can conclude that the Caribbean region is grappling with significant ramifications due to the current global challenges. The restrictions at the Panama Canal have resulted in delays, affecting the timely delivery of goods to the Caribbean, with major U.S. ports crucial for Caribbean-bound shipments experiencing disruptions as well. The supply chain to the region is facing increased complexities. Operational adjustments at the canal, including a 35% reduction in daily traffic and draft restrictions, are contributing to fewer vessels transiting, and this directly impacts the frequency and availability of goods reaching the Caribbean, leading to extended transit times and potential disruptions in the regular flow of commodities. The Red Sea crisis has exacerbated this situation, prompting to rerouting of container ships around the Cape of Good Hope. This adjustment, as explained, not only results in longer transit times, but also contributes to increased shipping costs for goods destined for the Caribbean. The fundamental changes in supply-demand dynamics, through more pronounced in other routes, have a trickle-down effect, affecting the Caribbean-bound shipment. Moreover, uncertainties surrounding the Red Sea crisis pose additional risk for Caribbean-bound shipment. Ongoing conflicts and potential disruptions may lead to supply chain challenges, impacting the availability of goods in the Caribbean and potentially causing further delays. And then the changes in global shipping alliances add another layer of complexity. The reshaping of these alliances may influence shipping schedules, potentially altering the efficiency and frequency of shipments to and from the Caribbean. This further underscores the interconnectedness of global trade and the subsequent implications for the Caribbean region, where delays, disruptions, and potential adjustments in the logistics are currently unfolding. Being said so, despite the difficulties we've been discussing about, KFTL has created a plan, and it's putting in place that plan to reinforce its commitment to support Jamaica and the Caribbean region, based on several initiatives developed within the last 3 years, and that will continue in the future. For instance, we do have a strong investment plan on equipment, capacity, and resources. Just to give you some data about how strong this plan is, we are acquiring 12 new straddle carriers this year and adding another 3 empty handlers and 8 new roadheads on platforms to our current fleet. We successfully deployed the first private 5G network in November in order to speed up our operations. And we are going to implement a DGPS system in 2025, where all our yard will be mapped in order to reinforce and double strength the security of the cargo within the yard. We've been executing last 2 years, and we will continue next 2 years, a refurbishment plan in all cranes. And that's an ongoing commitment to refurbish and upgrade every single piece of equipment that is currently operational at the terminal. We are also driving a major expansion plan project to the West Line, adding a 30% more yard capacity and handling capacity to our facility. That project is currently underway with ongoing geotechnical studies, and that will also include future equipment additions. So in addition to the yard equipment we are receiving this year, next year, 2025, we will introduce 2 new post-Panamax crane and another 10 new straddle carriers to our fleet. Commitment is not only about investment, it's about streamlining the processes that we execute on a daily basis and reinforce our alliances with all the different stakeholders. Berthing dialogues are key for the region. The way we communicate with the shipping lines, ensuring that every week main important services are berthed upon arrival, makes a difference for Jamaica and the region. And we focus with them, with the shipping lines, on optimizing berthing processes for early cargo handling. Why? Because Jamaica's market, the markets on the region are requesting us to speed up the processing of their goods. We are waiting for them. We have also implemented a system to prioritize the discharge of imports. We do have a weekly schedule to look for those containers that must be served immediately through our gate. And we do facilitate same-day delivery for certain imports to expedite the overall process. Another change is that we are implementing appointment system for agility. It is a project in progress, which intends to integrate the terminal operating system and the port community system for a streamlined appointment creation and requisites. We are also working closely to all the different stakeholders on improving the efficiency of our warehouse process. We collaborate with customs, and we are actually implementing changes on our internal process to enhance inspection speed and accuracy. That requires close collaboration with authorities. That's key component. We all need to be aligned, all the different stakeholders, brokers, customs, shipping lines, terminal. The regular exchange of status information is key component to ensure the operations are run smoothly. And finally, we have been changing our terminal operations system and our operational process to meet global standards. For instance, we're working on changes on the interchange area to speed up the deliveries. And we've been using, for the last 2 years, new models, new optimal models to improve the efficiency of our machines working on pull. Just to give you some data, since 2022, last 24 months, we have improved our yard productivity, the moves per hour that our machines execute, by 30%. In conclusion, the challenges outlined, stemming from Panama Canal restrictions, the Red Sea crisis, the US port congestion, and shifts in global shipping alliances, collectively pose a formidable set of hurdles for the Caribbean region. The intricacies of these issues have created a complex web affecting the maritime operations, supply chains, and efficiency of trade in and out of the Caribbean. As professionals engaged in the custom brokerage and maritime sectors, it is imperative for us to adapt swiftly and collaborate effectively, and seek for innovative solutions to mitigate the impacts of these challenges. The proactive measures taken by the Panama Canal, the resilience of global shipping networks, and the strategic collaboration between nations and industries will play crucial roles in overcoming these hurdles. But as we navigate through these turbulent waters, it is essential for stakeholders to stay informed, foster open dialogues, and work collectively to ensure the continued resilience and adaptability of the Caribbean trade landscape. The commitment of operational excellence, as demonstrated by organizations such as yours, the CACUB, and Kingston Freeport Terminal Limit, will serve as foundation for addressing those challenges and steering towards a more resilient and efficient future for maritime trade region. Let's put all the brains and all the hands on the game to navigate through this tough situation, and 100% sure we'll get safe to port.
Thank you, Mr. Monzo. That's been very detailed. We are approaching the 10 o'clock hour, so we're gonna maybe try and go directly to questions. But before I hand over to ask Jay Mareski and Leon to ask the questions, can I just make one question? So in a nutshell, I know you tried to endorse it just now, but in a nutshell, can I assume that whilst there are global issues, that your local issue as it relates to getting cargo transship move from larger ships onto smaller ships so we can service the Western Caribbean is really capacity as mentioned in your slide for local versus local imports?
So what happens when all those circumstances come together and we can see disruptions on the shipping lines global networks? Transshipment hubs are the first one to be affected when there are stoppages, when there are restrictions, when there's congestion. Basically because mainliners are the main focus for shipping lines. Those vessels cannot be stopped. So they will come, we will serve them in order to not stop the global network, but this will create episodes of congestion. Anytime East US ports got congested, the cargo that they won't be able to be discharged there basically comes to Kingston and the other transshipment hubs in the region. The congestion is not a isolated issue on Jamaica. We've been seeing very recently how Cartagena, Dominican Republic, and also Panama ports are having congestion issues, and they are diverting their own cargo and their transshipment to us. So it is a challenge for the terminal industry in the region. But looking at the overall situation, we can say we've been managing fairly well. Because yes, there was some delays, especially starting last year, situation has widely improved, but it was just a result of global network issues, anything related with local constraints, I would say.
All right, so Jim Resky, if I'm not sorry properly, you can ask your question, please.
Okay, I'm not going to ask a question. I just wanted to introduce myself first, and thank you for the opportunity to have our view presented. My name is Jędrzej Mierzewski. I'm a CEO of KFTL. And thank you for this opportunity to present the terminal view, because as you see, and what I have read from your remark, what you have read about some information of the line, which they were kind of explaining why the things are happening, putting not straightforward, but partly blame on the terminal. So it's good that we have an opportunity to present our view. Thanks for it, and I hope it's not the last time. But I would like to ask you, all of us, for one very important thing, that we should read the various messages critically. In the meaning, as you know, in the last year, one of the line, I will not going to name it, increase the volume, introduce a new service, and without, let me put it this way, arranging feeder service accordingly. So all of a sudden, they were bringing many more containers that they could evacuate from our place, creating additional problems. So why I'm saying so? I'm saying is because it's not so clear, and it's very easy finger pointing. But as Onufre said, we are putting a lot of effort, a lot of money, and a lot of investment for the next 2 years to become one of the best terminal in the area, and we want to be, and we will be. And you know, this only shows our commitment to the place. Where are we? We are in the center place, and one of our main business is serving the Caribbean region, and that's our aim, and that's what we would do. So I think it would be good if we could meet, I don't know, for a few months or maybe a quarter from now, to see if we are improving and how the things are. And, you know, just as Onufre rightly said, let's connect all the brains to make sure that it's more smooth operation. I just want to say one thing more. Transshipment is a chain of action. It's a chain, and it's only such a strong one as a smaller and weakest chain. One thing, because we are planning to the vessel, and that's how we set up our yard, how we set up our plans. You know, and it's not a 5, it's 1,000 of containers. And then if the vessels are changing their schedule, we have to completely rebuild everything, our plans. It's also additional moves, because you know that we have set the containers in a certain sequence on our yard. We have to reduce it, and that it's additional burden and the cost for the terminal. So that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to present our point of view, and good luck. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much as well. I'm pretty sure you have a very busy schedule, and for allowing your resources to come here with us today. And we will take your offer to review the situation again in a couple of months. Maybe we can plan it along with the secretary who's in Jamaica. So yes, we will look forward to hearing from you again. Mr. Leon, you have a question?
Yes, Chair. I have a question for our presenter.
Go ahead.
Sir, thank you very much for that detailed and very informative presentation. But my question is, what would you say to those who believe that there is a lack of forward and critical thinking by those in the shipping industry to reduce the negative impact shipping delays have caused on the global economy, especially countries like Jamaica, because demurrage and increase in freight rate is such a lucrative business. During our post-COVID, we saw where US President Joe Biden had to threaten one shipping line to reduce its freight rate because they think it was unfair. What would you say to those people?
Well, that's a situation I'm facing every day with my customers. And I would say you are right. I mean, those global circumstances, starting with COVID, let's say, facilitated an increase on rates. But this is something that we cannot easily change. Why? We do live in a global world, and luckily or unfortunately, we don't know, the market is captured by just a few actors, and they do have this capacity and ability to influence on prices. Then yes, the freights and the rates are increasing. Unfortunately for us, I'm a end user and end customer, and I do see everything being more expensive. Every day I go to the supermarket, but our part is to try to reduce the cost part at the final part of the network, which is do as much as we can in order to make it cheaper. And that's why we're putting a lot of effort on being more efficient, because at the end, we will be able to provide our customer better rates, and they will spread it to their customers as well. So I think I cannot be more clear. Yes, there's a gain to the shipping lines, but on the terminal perspective, it's something that we are pushing for to improve. So at least that part of the global trade network doesn't increase the rates for the customers.
And please forgive me, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Leon Smith, CEO for GoMax Customs Brokers here in Kingston, Jamaica. And final question, there's new straddle carriers. How would you say they have impacted your services?
So it is a game changer. I can give you some figures about it. Currently, we received 90 new straddle carriers on November 2022, and the productivity so far of those machines is 40% higher than the old straddles that we had in our fleet. You can compare a machine from 2022 against another one that was starting operations in 2007. We still have machines on those age here at the terminal. But it's not only productivity, it's also availability and reliability of those machines. So those machines produce more during more time. So it is a big impact. And as I said, if we saw an improvement when we deployed those struts 19 ones in 2022, within 2024 and 2025, we are going to receive 12 and 10 respectively. So we are going to improve our handling capacity at the yard by more than 25%. It is a huge game changer for us.
Okay, you're heading close to the finish line, but we have Mr. Clive Cope, who is in Jamaica, to ask one question, and then his question, sorry. And then we're going to take maybe one more question after that. So, Clive?
Yeah, thank you, Louis. And let me just add my voice, Mr. Monzo, that I did learn a lot from your brief presentation. I just have two quick queries. You did mention in your presentation that there's a global shipping alliance, and this this was creating some amount of delays. This is one of the factors creating delays in shipping. If you could just expound a bit more on that particular point.
Yes, exactly. And I would refer, Mr. Cook, to what GMJ was saying, our CEO. Early last year, 2023, there's one of the biggest actors in terms of alliances in the shipping industry, the 2M, MSC and Maersk decided to separate. Everybody would think then that only those two shipping lines would be readjusting and changing their networks. And it wasn't the case. It was not only them changing where they execute transshipments, which ports to call, what are going to be their shipping routes. There were many other partners, smaller shipping lines, that were covered by this 2M alliance that had to suddenly look for alternatives, bearing in mind that this 2M alliance would expire in early 2022 and 2025. And Jamaica and the Caribbean region was directly affected because of that. JMJ didn't mention which shipping line. I won't do it neither. But there was a shipping line that in Q2 last year, 2023, decided to divert more than 200,000 containers traffic directly to Kingston because they wanted to assure a location for them to be served. And if we look at our figures, last year we performed 1.3 million containers, an increase of 200,000 million from one day to the other. It supposes big challenges for a facility like this one. But I need to say we were able to manage it fairly well. And that volume is a volume that has been kept here and it will continue having here. So at the end, factor or a circumstance that could trigger having several problems, not only for KFTL, but also affecting the Caribbean region, it become a good business for everyone here. So yes, it took us a little bit to look at what the situation was, put plans in place in order to be able to handle these extra volumes. But at this point, we have them and we continue improving and being more efficient. So initially a constrained situation, then a good one, I would say.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Clive. We're gonna allow one more question before we go. Any other questions, please? So Odofre, we're gonna definitely take out your CEO's offer to maybe assess again what is happening. Maybe you could tell us when is the best time, maybe just before the next peak time. That would be during the summer.
Yes, I mean, as I said, for us is one of the key elements that we are also reinforcing, having direct access and direct communication with all the stakeholders, because at the end, this is not an isolated company. We interact with many stakeholders, and the more aligned we are all and the more informed that all the different parties are, the better. So I would be more than welcome to have another session with you gentlemen, and yeah, let's keep in touch. And I would say we don't need to wait for another 6 months, because you all know where I am, and you can maybe Mr. Ford share my contact with the rest of the people joining the session, and I will be more than glad to share the information that we do have and what are the plans and what are the solutions that we're putting in place.
Okay, great. And also maybe next time we can have a or the appropriate session, we can have a bit of a media session where maybe the Caribbean media can maybe hear from you firsthand what has happened and what may happen in the future. Because they're often catching their stories from, not from you, but from other persons.
Definitely, that's something that we've also been working on. So we do have now a communications department that reports directly to the CEO, and they are doing a big effort on improving the communication going from the terminal to the external parties.
Gordon Burke, you don't mind giving us a little vote of thanks, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone. First, let me just thank our participants. I'm going to go there first for staying with us. Normally it's an hour, we're a little bit over an hour. We hope that information has been good for you. We want to thank the KFTL team, or the CEO, not getting the name now, I won't try to pronounce it, the Onofre. Monzo, we thank you very much for being here this morning with us, and we want to also thank Trudy Bell Navis, who helped us to coordinate so that we could have this session this morning. The information, as team members indicate, has been a wealth of information for us. A lot of it is new, and it will help us in communicating with our customers going forward. And we do thank you for being here this morning. Thanks again, everyone, and have a blessed day.
Thank you. Thanks all.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. You have a good day.